So you have this file that you get loaded from your system, and it's got preloaded with column names that you actually can see here with numbers appended at the bottom. And basically, what that references in this particular case, you have a July report and it appends it with the number 7. In the future, you get August data and it appends it with 8, and so on and so forth. So what we want to do in Power Query is be able to dynamically change these column names so it strips out those numbers from that. So how can we do this? Well, what you see here is I got this from loading my data set from data and then from text CSV. So right now we're at the Power Query Navigator. So what we want to do is now we want to transform this data. So once we load this, it automatically is going to do certain applied steps. And as you can see, it promoted the headers up here, and it did automatically do a change type on this. So our first step here is we want to get a list of these column header names. And let's work in the advanced editor where I write out the M code to do this. So let's go up to advanced editor. Okay, and let's go over to the right. And this is the M code that produces these steps over here. So let's go to the end of this last step in the let statement. And we have to, because we have other steps after that, we have to put a comma, press enter. And now, by getting a list of the old column names, okay, our formula is it takes the Table.ColumnNames function, it takes a table as an argument and then returns a list of all the column names as text strings. So we need to get these old names first so we can transform them. So we're going to create a new applied step called old column names. We're going to set that equal to Table.ColumnNames. And then we're going to pass in the table that we want to get the column names in. And basically what we're doing is we're going to be referencing the previous applied step, and it's called change type. So we're going to do a £, end quotes, the name of the applied step, okay? And then this end statement, we need to return basically our last step name, which is old column name. Okay, let's first of all, let's do this first, old column names. Okay, and now we're going to press done, and then you're going to see the results of that. So let's, we misspelled something, just a second. Okay, the function name is called column names, plural. So let's go ahead up here in the formula and let's type in names. Okay, and then press enter and it should work like it did. So basically what we did was we went up to this table here, okay, and what we did is table column names is gonna return a list of all these column names in this specific table. So what it did was it created a list with text values in there. So now what we want to do is we want to get a list of the new column names. So in other words, what do we want to rename these column names first? So we could use the List.Transform function, and what it does, it takes a list, which is going to be this list, and then transform each item in the list, okay, to whatever we want it to be. So let's go back up to here, home, and then advanced editor, and let's create a new applied step. Remember, we have to end the old applied step with a comma. Tell in Power Query, okay, we got another step after this. So in this case, we're just going to call this new column name. We're going to set that equal to list.transform, list.transform, and we're going to pass into it, okay, the list that we called, which was old column name. So we got to reference the old column names list, comma, and then for each item in this list, we're going to perform a text.trim end. And I'll explain this code in a second. So we're going to pass it an underscore, comma, pass it a list. The list is represented by curly brackets, 0, dot, dot, 9, and that, okay? And then remember that we need to return basically new column name. Okay, so let's go ahead and walk through this code first before we see the results. Now again, what this basically means is, again, text.transform takes a list as the first argument. The next argument, basically, we need to tell it, okay, what do we want to do with this list? So for each item in the list, okay, which currently has the old column name, what we want to do is perform text.trimEnd on it. So this underscore first means, what are we passing? Well, we're going to loop through the old column names in the list, and this basically means we're taking the current item in that looping, and then we're going to say, okay, we're going to go to the right of that text, okay, and strip out any digit 0 through 9. So that's what this means, 0, and then the dot dot means through 9. So it's going to consecutively look for 0, 1, 2, 3, and so forth, all the way up to number 9. So now let's click done. Okay, it created a new list for us. So as you can see, we have the old list with the numbers at the end. Now we have a new list with the numbers stripped off of that. So this is our new list. So basically we're going to be using this to rename our columns. So now at this point we have two separate lists. We have the old column names, and now we have the new column names. So our next step is basically, before we can do a Table.RenameColumns, which we're going to be using in the following step after this next one. Table.RenameColumns doesn't accept two separate lists. What we need is a list paired together in a specific format. And so this next step, we're going to be using List.Zip, which basically stitches two lists together by position, grabbing one item from each list and then pairing it up with the other one. So let's go back to the advanced editor, and let's create a new applied step. Remember, we have to put a comma, enter, and our new step is going to be rename pairs equal to list Table.Zip, okay, and we're going to pass into it basically two lists. So we're going to say, open it up with curly brackets, old columns names, okay, and then we're going to use a column, and then we're going to put in a new list, okay. So that's what basically this does. And now let's return rename pairs. Okay, again, it's pairing these two lists together, and you'll see the results in a second. Let's click done. Okay, so what it did was it created a list with sublist or nested list. And now you can see we have on the bottom left here, we have the old column name, and we're pairing it with the new column name. And that's what it did for each one of these in the two lists when we paired them together. We take the old column name, and this is the new column name. So our final step is now we need to basically rename all the columns in our table. So let's go to the advanced editor. Let's create a step at the end. Remember to press a comma. And now we're going to call this renamed table. We're going to set that to Table.RenameColumns. And it takes two arguments. The first is the table that we want, okay? And the next argument is the rename pairs the step that we applied above. So we want to apply this to the table referenced and change type, which is there, okay? And we're going to press a comma because we got a new argument, and we're going to pass in the renamed pairs step, close out that area, and now we need to return basically the renamed table step. Okay, now we're going to click on done. Okay, now we got a new table. Remember, this old table has the old column names. The new table now has all the new column names that we want with the old column names stripped out. So that's how you can dynamically rename your columns in Power Query. Again, when you go back into your Excel sheet, you could also refresh your query. So when you get the August data in, it's going to do the same thing. It's going to rename it to this. So hopefully this tutorial was helpful for you today. You learned how to write some M code to make all these changes possible. Remember to like and comment on this video, and please subscribe to this channel because it helps get more videos out there to more people that want to learn these techniques. Thanks again. You have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next video.